I stood there in the resort lobby, my heart shattering into 1,000 pieces as I watched my own grandchildren skip away toward the elevators, their laughter echoing off the polished marble floors like a cruel symphony. My daughter-in-law Sophia had muttered something about finally escaping the old baggage, and the whole group had erupted in giggles. They had no idea I'd overheard every venomous word. They had no clue that I'd scraped together every penny for this getaway by hawking my handmade quilts at the weekend farmers market for nearly a year, tucking away bills in an old coffee can hidden beneath the flour sacks in my pantry. And they certainly didn't know what I was plotting next. But to understand how it all unraveled, we need to rewind to 4 weeks earlier. On a crisp Wednesday morning when the autumn light filtered through my lace curtains like a warm embrace, I was in my cozy kitchen, the one I'd shared with my late husband, Harold, for over 4 decades until cancer took him 5 years ago. The scent of fresh-baked bread lingered in the air as I poured myself a cup of tea, my daily ritual since becoming a widow. A quiet moment to gather my thoughts before the loneliness set in. The phone buzzed on the counter, jolting me from my reverie. It was my youngest daughter, Elena, her voice dripping with that honeyed tone she reserved for when she wanted a favor. "Mom, I've got the most amazing idea," she chirped, her enthusiasm bubbling over the line. My heart skipped a beat. It had been ages since any of my kids looped me into their adventures. What if we did a big family getaway for the new year? Just like when Dad was alive, everyone together. No distractions. I could picture her pacing in her modern apartment, her long hair swishing as she spoke. The idea painted vivid pictures in my mind. Sandy beaches, shared meals, stories around a fire pit. It had been so long since I'd felt truly part of their lives. Family gatherings these days were superficial, me bustling in the background at holiday dinners, refilling plates while they chattered about promotions, exotic vacations, and school events. I was the invisible glue, the one who cleaned up after, never the center of attention. "Oh, Elena, that sounds like a dream," I replied, my voice thick with emotion. I set my teacup down, blinking back happy tears. "Tell me more." She launched into details. A luxurious resort on the lakefront, with cabins, a spa, hiking trails, and kid-friendly games. "It'll be magical. Mommy, my husband Victor, my sister Nadia and her hubby, Leo. All the grandkids, and you right in the mix. One big, happy clan." There was a pause. Then she added casually, "Just one tiny thing. The resort insists on one person handling the booking. Could you manage it? We'll reimburse you right away. Promise." Of course, it was the same old song. I was the reliable one, the organizer, the name on the dotted line, while they reaped the rewards. But this time, the sting was dulled by excitement. This was my shot to create lasting memories, to prove my love in a grand gesture. "Absolutely, dear, leave it to me," I said, already mentally jotting down notes. That very afternoon, I dialed the resort. "Lakeview Haven Resort. How may I assist?" came the cheerful voice of the clerk. "I'd like to reserve for 14 people," I said, my pulse quickening. I'd never orchestrated something this elaborate. "Dates from January 3rd to the 10th. More keyboard clacks. "Excellent, ma'am. That'd be 6 deluxe cabins, all-inclusive with meals, activities, and spa access. Total comes to $5,600. The number hit me like a cold wave. My fixed income was $950 a month from Harold's pension and Social Security. I'd squirreled away $1,200 from quilt sales over 11 months. It wasn't enough, not even close. "Ma'am," the clerk prompted. Yes. Can I secure it now and pay the balance later? We require a 40% deposit to hold $2,240. Sleep evaded me that night. I paced my living room, crunching numbers under the glow of a single lamp. I had $100 in petty cash, emergency funds I'd guarded fiercely, and Harold's old pocket watch, a gold heirloom engraved with our initials, passed down from his grandfather. The next morning, I visited the antique shop downtown. Mrs. Harlow, the proprietor, was a kindly soul who'd known Harold since boyhood. "Beatrice, dear, what brings you in?" she asked, adjusting her glasses. I need to know what you'd offer for this watch." She inspected it carefully, her face softening with recognition. "It's a fine piece, Beatrice. Sentimental value aside, I can give you $1,000. It felt like selling a piece of my soul. $1,000. For 45 years of love and laughter. But visions of my family's grateful faces pushed me forward. "Sold. With the proceeds, my savings, and a bit more." I called the resort back and locked in the deposit. The booking was mine. 6 cabins, 14 guests, 8 days of paradise. In the weeks that followed, Alina and Nadia peppered me with questions about itineraries. But money. We'll sort it later, Mom. Focus on the fun. I ramped up my efforts. More quilts sold at markets, odd jobs like hemming neighbors' curtains, skipping luxuries like my weekly book club tea. My home grew draftier as I skimped on heating. Meals became simpler, beans and rice instead of roasts, all for that idyllic family reunion. 2 days before departure, Alina called, buzzing with energy. Mom, the kids are bouncing off the walls. Victor's packed the fishing gear. How's everything on your end? All set, sweetheart. Just the final payment. Oh, right. We'll handle it at check-in. Can't wait. The eve of the trip, I maxed out my credit card for the remaining $3,360. My watch, my savings, my quilt's gone, but worth every sacrifice for family bliss. Little did I know the nightmare awaiting. Dawn broke early on travel day. I rose at 5 a.m., packing meticulously, my favorite floral dresses, Harold's favorite scarf for chilly evenings, sturdy sandals for lakeside walks. I felt giddy, like a bride on her wedding day. Alina was picking me up at 8 a.m. We'd caravan in 3 vehicles for the 4-hour drive. I donned my sunny yellow blouse, the one, Nadia said, brightened my eyes and added a touch of lipstick. At 8:15, the horn blinked. I wheeled my suitcase out, locking up with a spring in my step. In the SUV, Victor drove while Alina scrolled social media. The older grandkids, twins, Liam and Zoe, fiddled with earbuds in the back. Morning, everyone, I beamed, sliding in. Only the twins mumbled hellos. Alina offered a curt wave without glancing up. Ready for adventure? I tried. Yep, Victor grunted, pulling away. Alina chimed. Did you message Nadia? They're trailing us. Already did. Leo's a slowpoke driver. The drive dragged. I attempted chit-chat about Elena's teaching job, vacation plans, the grandkids' school. Responses were clipped, eyes glued to screens. Alina snickered at her phone periodically. Something funny, I ventured. Just work friends memes. You wouldn't get it, Mom. Deflated, I gazed at rolling hills, quaint farms, and frost-kissed trees. Tallying my sacrifices, quilts in the rain, skipped meals. The watch's tick now silent. Arrival at Lakeview Haven stole my breath. Towering pines framed crystal-clear waters. The lodge glowed with warm wood and stone, gardens bursting with winter evergreens. Fountains burbled welcomingly, and the lake's gentle lap promised serenity. This is paradise, I gasped, alight with joy. The kids bolted out, racing ahead. Alina and Victor unloaded bags as Nadia's minivan pulled up. My 15-year-old grandson, Theo, was the only one to approach, wrapping me in a quick hug. Graham, this place rocks. Look at the dock kayaks and everything. I know, sweetie. It's going to be unforgettable, I said, ruffling his hair. At least one shared my spark. We entered the grand lobby, vaulted ceilings with exposed beams, plush armchairs by a roaring fireplace, the aroma of pine and fresh coffee. I approached the desk. Good morning. Reservation under Beatrice Thompson. The clerk, a young man with a neat beard, nodded. Yes, ma'am. 6 deluxe cabins for 14. 8 nights all good. As he outlined amenities, spa treatments, guided hikes, evening bonfires, I overheard Alina and Nadia whispering. 6 cabins. Thought it'd be cheaper, Nadia hissed. Mom handled it. Will divvy costs post-trip, Alina replied. Keys and hand-rustic wooden fobs, etched with lake motifs. I turned to share the excitement, but the lobby was empty. Only Theo lingered, shifting uncomfortably. Where'd they go? I asked, panic rising. Elevators. Said they'd unpack and meet later. His evasion was obvious. Theo, what's really happening? He hesitated, then pulled out his phone. Graham, you should see this. It's the family chat. My world tilted. What chat? The one Aunt Alina made, called Stress-Free Escape. His voice cracked. They didn't want you along. The words landed like blows. But Alina invited me, begged me to book. Theo handed over his phone, screen glowing with betrayal. Recent texts, here at last. Old Bat sorted everything. Now for real fun, sans her hovering. Her check-in was mortifying, so eager. Let her veg in her cabin. We'll hit the spa. Tears stung as I scrolled. $2,240 deposit. My watch. A year's labor for this. Theo, how old is this chat? He checked, since Aunt Alina pitched the idea. Look created November 15th. The day she called with feigned excitement. Older messages. Conned mom into booking. She's tech illiterate anyway. Free getaway, no drama. No group stuff, every fam for itself. Worse, hotel allows reservation tweaks. Yup, Under her name, she can transfer. End of week, fake billing mix-up stick her with it. They'd schemed to use me as a pawn, enjoy my largesse, then dump the debt. Graham. Theo's concern pierced my fog. What now? The old Beatrice would have retreated, wept alone, endured in silence room service solitude. Why? Theo's concern pierced my fog. What now? The old Beatrice would have retreated, wept alone, endured in silence room service, solitude while they but no more. Selling that watch, those market marathons. The realization of being a mere ATM it ignited a fire. I'm not crumbling, dear, not this time. We found my cabin, cozy with a 4-poster bed, fireplace, balcony overlooking the lake's shimmer, ensuite with a clawfoot tub, dreamy, yet hollow. From the window, I spied them. Alina and Nadia lounging by the fire pit with wines. Victor and Leo splashing with kids in the indoor pool. Laughter floated up, mocking. What stings deepest isn't the cash or lies. I confided in Theo. It's believing we'd bond, create joys. He nodded, eyes misty. I argued it was wrong. Graham. They said I was too young to grasp adult choices. A text pinged. Alina. Unpacked. Grabbing lakeside lunch. Order in if you like. Catch you dinner. Liars. I knew their plot, but I smirked. Tell her thanks, but I've got plans. And I did. While they reveled, I acted. Patience, my lifelong ally when dismissed, would prevail. First call. My credit union, disputing charges. Second, resort desk, inquiring modifications. Third, my attorney, old friend, Mr. Patel. If they thought they'd outwit me, they'd learn otherwise. The tables were turning, and I held the deck. That evening, as stars dotted the lake's mirror, I sipped tea on my balcony, plotting meticulously. The family dined without me, assuming I'd wilt. But tomorrow, revelations awaited. I'd ensure this stress-free escape became their unforgettable lesson in gratitude and consequences. Once upon a time in the bustling coastal town of Santa Marina, California, lived a resilient widow named Victoria Thompson. At 68 years old, Victoria had built a life of quiet determination after losing her husband, Harold, to a sudden heart attack 5 years earlier. Harold had been the love of her life, a hard-working accountant who left her with a modest inheritance and a house full of memories. But Victoria wasn't one to dwell in sorrow. She channeled her energy into her small bakery business, rising at dawn each day to bake artisanal breads and pastries that had become a local favorite. Her hands, calloused from years of kneading dough, told stories of perseverance. Victoria's family was her world, or so she thought. She had 2 daughters, Alina, the eldest at 42, a sharp-tongued real estate agent with a penchant for luxury, and Sophia, 39, a freelance graphic designer who always seemed to be between jobs. Alina was married to Mark, a construction foreman, and they had 2 teenage sons, Alex and Ben. Sophia, divorced and single, had a daughter named Leela, who at 22 was studying environmental science in college and often confided in her grandmother. Then there were the younger grandchildren, Sophia's twins from her marriage, 10-year-old Mia and Leo, who adored Victoria's homemade cookies. For months, Victoria had dreamed of reuniting her family for a lavish beach vacation. She scrimped and saved from her bakery earnings, dipping into her savings to book a week-long stay at the luxurious Ocean Breeze Resort in Santa Marina. The total cost, a whopping $5,800 for 6 premium villas overlooking the Pacific, complete with private pools, spa access, and all-inclusive meals. Victoria had paid it all up front with her debit card, envisioning laughter-filled days by the sea, rebuilding bonds that had frayed over the years. This will be my gift to them, she told herself, a chance to make new memories. The trip started with promise. They arrived on a sunny Friday afternoon, the ocean waves crashing like applause. Victoria handed out key cards with a beaming smile, watching as her family unpacked and explored. Alina immediately claimed the largest villa for her brood, while Sophia took one with the twins. Leela shared with Victoria, and the rest were divvied up accordingly. That first evening, they dined at the resort's seaside restaurant, toasting to family forever with expensive cocktails that Victoria quietly covered. But cracks appeared by the second day. While lounging by the pool, Victoria overheard Alina and Sophia whispering heatedly. "Mom's loaded after Dad's insurance payout," Alina hissed. "Why should she hog it all? We could dispute the charges, say it was unauthorized. The bank would refund her, but we'd keep the trip." Sophia nodded eagerly. "Exactly. Call it elder confusion or something. She's getting forgetful anyway. Victoria's heart sank. She pretended to nap, but her mind raced. Later, Lila, who had eavesdropped accidentally, slipped into Victoria's villa after dark. Grandma, I heard Aunt Alina on the phone with her bank. They're planning to claim fraud on your card. It's awful, I don't want any part of it. Devastated but resolute, Victoria spent a sleepless night plotting her defense. By morning, she was ready to act. Her first call was to Coastal Federal Bank, her longtime financial institution. Coastal Federal. This is Javier speaking. How may I assist you today? Good morning, Javier. I'm Victoria Thompson. I suspect a fraud attempt on my debit card involving family members. After verifying her identity with her account number, PIN, and social security details, Victoria laid out the story meticulously. I authorized a $5,800 payment to Ocean Breeze Resort for our family vacation, but I've learned my daughter's plan to dispute it as fraudulent, claiming I didn't approve it. Javier's tone shifted to concern. That's serious, Mrs. Thompson. Do you have proof of their intent? Yes, my granddaughter overheard them discussing it. And I have all receipts, emails, and booking confirmations showing I initiated everything willingly. Plus, witnesses from the bakery who knew about my plans. Javier typed furiously. I'll add a fraud alert and a detailed note to your account. Any dispute will trigger a full review, requiring ironclad evidence from the claimant. The charges stay until proven invalid. I'll also send you a fraud prevention form via email, fill it out and return it for extra protection. Hanging up, Victoria felt a spark of empowerment, but she needed more. Her next call was to the resort's front desk. Ocean Breeze Resort, front desk. This is Maria. Hello, Maria. Could I speak with the general manager? It's urgent regarding my reservation under Victoria Thompson. 10 minutes later, a polished voice answered. Mrs. Thompson, this is Carlos Rivera, the general manager. How can I help? Victoria explained the betrayal in detail, her voice steady despite the ache in her chest. I paid for everything as a surprise, but my daughters intend to fraudulently dispute the charges. I need safeguards. Carlos sighed sympathetically. I'm sorry to hear this. Family disputes like these are more common than you'd think. What do you need from us? First, a written confirmation that I'm the sole payer and reservation holder, with no coercion. Second, alert your staff if anyone tries to alter the booking without me. Contact me immediately. And third, can we meet tomorrow at 8:30 a.m.? I may need to adjust things. Absolutely. I'll email the confirmation letter right away and brief my team. See you in the morning. With the hotel on her side, Victoria turned to her most trusted ally, her late husband's attorney, Ms. Patricia Hale of Hale Legal Services. She'd handled Harold's estate flawlessly. Hey Legal, this is the receptionist. Is Ms. Hale available? It's Victoria Thompson, urgent, family matter. 4 minutes later, Victoria. It's been too long. What's wrong? Pouring out the Talitha overheard plot. The group texts Lila had screenshots showing Alina coordinating with Sophia about getting mom's money back. The emotional toll. Victoria held nothing back. Patricia clucked disapprovingly. This screams financial elder abuse. Victoria. Coercing or deceiving a senior for gain is a serious crime under state and federal law. Disputing valid charges. That's wire fraud potential. What are my options? Victoria asked, gripping the phone. Smart move, contacting the bank and hotel. I'll draft a notarized affidavit affirming your voluntary payment, get it signed at the resort. They likely have a notary. Legally, you could press charges, seek a restraining order on your finances, or revise your will to protect assets, even sue for emotional distress if it escalates. The weight of legal action against my daughters hit hard. Alina, whom she'd nursed through childhood illnesses. Sophia, for whom she'd paid college tuition. I just want it to stop. Patricia, no lawsuits yet. I get it, but know your power. I'll email the docs now. Call if you need more. As the afternoon waned, Victoria's family returned from a yacht excursion she'd funded. Laughter echoed, but it rang hollow to her. At 7 p.m., a knock. Alina, Mom, you okay? You skipped the boat ride. Fine, dear. Just handling some calls, bank stuff, legal odds and ends. Elena's eyes narrowed. Legal. Everything all right? Oh yes. Adult responsibilities, you know. Victoria smiled sweetly. Elena shifted. Sophia and I were thinking, maybe we could take over some resort details, like extra keys to the villas, for emergencies. What emergencies? Victoria probed, her tone even. Just, in case. You're busy. We don't want to burden you. I'm 68, not infirm, Elena. I manage my bakery alone, keys are no issue. Alina faltered. Of course, Mom. Forget I said it. Dinner soon. At the lavish buffet, Victoria observed, Alina ordering premium lobster. Sophia, multiple wines, the grandkids innocently joyful. But Lila shot her knowing glances, and the twins hugged her tightly. Not all were tainted. Post-dinner, Lila visited Grandma. Aunt Elena was fidgety. What's your plan? Victoria shared her calls. The impending meeting. Not canceling the trip, sweetie, but they'll get what they've earned. Lila's eyes sparkled. You're a force, Grandma. By 5 a.m., Victoria was up, energized like her baking days. She donned her elegant emerald dress bought for a cruise that never happened headed to breakfast. At 6:45, Carlos Rivera approached. Mrs. Thompson, ready for our meeting. In his Ocean View office, adorned with nautical art and achievement plaques, they dove in. Our legal team reviewed overnight. Confirm. $5,800 paid voluntarily for 6 villas. Yes. An evidence of dispute plot. Lila overheard. Screenshots exist. Carlos presented documents, a payment confirmation, and an authority addendum. This grants you total control. Cancel, modify anything. Victoria's pulse raced. I can cancel specific villas. Indeed. 6 under your name. Adjust as needed. The plan crystallized. Cancel 5. Keep mine Villa 7. Effective today. Disable keys at 9 a.m. At 10 a.m. Staff notifies occupants to vacate by 11 a.m. Explain it's my decision as payer, not the resort's. If they seek me, direct to Villa 7 but only civilly. Any aggression? Call security. Carlos noted it all. Bold, but warranted. Why this? Families should cherish, not exploit. I love them, but betrayal has consequences. By 9 a.m., chaos brewed. Keys failed. Confusion spread. At 10, staff delivered notices. Alina stormed to the desk, furious. This is ridiculous. Mom can't do this. But protocols held. They converged on Victoria's villa, faces thunderous. Mom, what the hell? Sophia demanded. Victoria stood tall. You planned to steal from me to dispute my gift. Now, find your own way. Arguments flew, tears fell, but Victoria remained firm. Lila stood by her. The twins clung confusedly. Alina and Sophia scrambled for new lodging, their free paradise. Arguments flew, tears fell, but Victoria remained firm. Lila stood by her. The twins clung confusedly. Alina and Sophia scrambled for new lodging, their free paradise shattered. In the end, Victoria kept her villa, sharing with Lila and the twins for a peaceful remainder. The others left humbled, relationships strained but perhaps meant. Victoria returned home stronger, her bakery thriving, a reminder that self-respect outshines blind sacrifice. And in Santa Marina's waves, she found solace, knowing she'd reclaimed her power. Victoria Thompson had always been the pillar of her family. For over 4 decades, she had poured her heart and soul into raising her children Alexander, Benjamin, and their younger sister Alina. She had worked tirelessly as a scrimping and saving to ensure they had everything they needed, clothes on their backs, food on the table, and the best education she could afford. Her late husband, Robert, had passed away young, leaving her to shoulder the burden alone, but Victoria never complained. She sacrificed her own dreams of traveling the world, of pursuing her passion for painting, all so her children could chase theirs. Now, at 68, retired, and with a comfortable nest egg from years of prudent investments, she thought it was finally her turn to enjoy some family time. That's why she had planned this lavish vacation to a sun-drenched resort in the Bahamas, a week of luxury at the Azure Waves Hotel. All expenses paid by her. But as she sat in the opulent lobby that fateful morning, sipping a mimosa and reflecting on the previous day's events, a cold realization had settled in. Her family wasn't here for bonding. They were here for the free ride. And worse, they were plotting against her. It had started with a whisper from her granddaughter, Olivia, the bright-eyed 16-year-old daughter of Alexander and his wife, Sophia. Olivia had pulled Victoria aside the night before, her face pale with guilt. "Grandma," she had whispered, "I think you need to see this." And with trembling hands, she showed Victoria the secret family group chat excluding her. Of course, where her own children and their spouses laid bare their true feelings. The messages were a dagger to the heart. "Can't believe we're stuck with the old bat again. At least the vacation's free." "Yeah, but she's so embarrassing, always nagging about sunscreen and early bedtimes. Once we get her to hand over the credit card details, we can book our own stuff without her hovering." And the worst, plans to dispute the charges with the bank, claiming fraud, so they could pocket the refunds while leaving Victoria to foot the bill. They even discussed hiring a sitter to keep the grandkids away from her, calling her a useful idiot for paying everything. Victoria's initial shock had given way to a simmering rage. But she channeled it into action. She wasn't the frail widow they thought she was. No, she was a woman who had survived loss, hardship, and betrayal before. This time, she would turn the tables at 7:30 a.m. She met with the hotel manager, Carlos, in his private office overlooking the turquoise ocean. Carlos was a polished man in his 50s, with a warm smile and a professional demeanor honed from years in hospitality. He listened intently as Victoria laid out her story, showing him the screenshots Olivia had forwarded. His eyes widened in disbelief, then narrowed in sympathy. "Mrs. Thompson," he said, leaning forward, "this is appalling. Families should be about love and support, not exploitation. How can I assist you?" Victoria straightened her posture, her voice steady despite the storm inside. "I want to cancel their room reservations immediately, deactivate their keycards at 10 a.m. sharp, and prepare for them to be escorted out if necessary. I'll cover any fees, but they won't be staying here on my dime anymore." Carlos nodded, his fingers flying over his keyboard. "Of course, we'll handle this discreetly but firmly. Do you have any legal concerns? Disputes like this can get messy." "I've already consulted my lawyer back home," Victoria replied. She had called her old friend, attorney Harlan Brooks, at dawn. He had drafted a sworn statement affirming that the trip was her gift, revocable at will, and that any disputes with the bank would be met with fraud charges. "Everything's in order." They signed the documents, and Carlos summoned a notary from the resort staff, a efficient young woman named Louisa who arrived promptly to officiate. As they wrapped up, Victoria added, "One more thing, Carlos. Could you arrange a private transfer for 12:30? Just for my granddaughter Olivia and me. We're moving to the Serenity Cove Resort down the coast. Somewhere we can relax without complications." Carlos's eyes twinkled with understanding. "It would be my honor, Mrs. Thompson. Consider it done." Back in her suite by 8:30, Victoria ordered room service, fresh tropical fruit, yogurt, and a pot of strong coffee. She settled onto the balcony, the salty breeze ruffling her silver hair, and watched the resort come alive. Below, families splashed in the infinity pool, laughter echoing up. Her own family would be stirring soon, plotting their perfect day beach lounging, spa treatments, all while sidelining her as the old lady who preferred her room. But today was different. At 9 o'clock, as promised, Olivia's first message arrived. Screenshots from the secret chat. "Beach volleyball this morning. Then couples massages. Grandma won't mind staying put, she's probably knitting or something. Confirmed with the bank. Alex. Dispute ready by afternoon. Will be golden." Each word fueled Victoria's resolve. No sadness, only empowerment. By 9:30, another ping from Olivia. "They're at breakfast now, Grandma. Uncle Ben mentioned talking to reception after lunch to reassign the rooms to their names. Aunt Isabella said this is the last day of faking it with you." Victoria smiled grimly, pouring another coffee. From her vantage point, she could see them, Alexander and Benjamin, horsing around in the pool with the grandkids. Sophia and Isabella lounging with colorful cocktails. Alina, who had joined last minute with her husband, chatting animatedly. All carefree, courtesy of her generosity, while scheming her downfall. At 10:55 Carlos called. "Mrs. Thompson, everything's set. Keycards for suites 401, 402, 404, and 405 will deactivate in 5 minutes. "Excellent," she replied. "Your team is prepared." "Absolutely. Security is discreet. Housekeepers briefed. We'll pack their belongings if needed." She hung up, heart pounding with anticipation. 10:58, 10:59, 11 o'clock. The keys were dead. It began subtly. At 11:05, Isabella rose from her lounge chair, towel in hand, heading inside likely to freshen up. Minutes later, Olivia texted Aunt Isabella's at reception, furious. Key not working. By 11:10, the whole group migrated. Olivia's updates flew in. Dad's yelling now. Receptionist saying reservation change. They're panicking. At 11:15, Alexander called, his voice, usually smooth and commanding from his sales job, cracked. "Mom, big problem. Keys aren't working. Can you come down?" "What happened?" Victoria feigned concern. "They say the rooms are cancelled. Must be a glitch. Please help, we need to get the kids inside." "I'm occupied, dear. It'll sort itself." Occupied with what? Frustration seeped through. Matters of importance. Click. More texts from Olivia. "Manager Carlos is here. Explaining to Uncle Ben, Aunt Sophia's arguing, kids are confused. At 11:30, Benjamin rang, Mom, emergency? Hotel claims you canceled us out. Fix this, it's absurd. Why absurd? She asked coolly. Because, we're family. No reason to do that. Oh, there are reasons. Silence. Ask Carlos, he knows. You know the manager. We met this morning. Productive chat. Another pause. Yes, I canceled them. Why? Desperation now. Because I choose to. Click. At 11:45, resort staff approached the pool group, Carlos, a guest services rep named Maria, and a subtle security officer. Gestures toward the exit, shocked faces, rising voices. Then, the knock 11:50, pounding like thunder. Victoria opened to Alexander, Benjamin, Sophia, Isabella, and Elena faces a storm of rage and fear. Grandkids hovered in the hall, wide-eyed. What the hell, Mom? Sophia exploded, pushing in. Mind your tone, Victoria said evenly, closing the door. Sit. Benjamin paced. Hotel says you booted us. Misunderstanding, right? No misunderstanding. You're evicted from my vacation. Your vacation? Isabella scoffed. It's family time, Victoria corrected. She pulled up the screenshots, projecting them on the TV for dramatic effect. Messages scrolled. Old hags paying, let's milk it. Embarrassing, at dinner last night. Dispute charges tomorrow, free money. Nanny for kids so she doesn't hover. Faces drained of color. Alexander stammered. Not what it seems, ... Explain, scam the bank then. Or embarrassed by the old lady. Stunned, silence. Alina, usually the peacemaker, whispered, Mom, we were stressed, ... Stressed. You created that chat the day I invited you. Planned betrayal from the start. Sophia slumped. Kids, what about them? The kids you hid from me. They'll learn actions have consequences. You're ruining us. Isabella Soved. No, Victoria said firmly. You ruined this when you saw me as a wallet, not a mother. Benjamin pleaded. We can fix it. Talk now. Too late. Staff packed your bags. Taxis, wait. Find your own hotel and your dime. Alina stood, defiant. You can't abandon family. Who abandoned first? Victoria met her gaze. The ignored advice, backstabbing, scams. That's not family. Defeat washed over them. No excuses left. As they filed out, grandkids in tow, except Olivia, who stayed, Victoria felt a mix of sorrow and freedom. The kids hugged her goodbye, confused but loving. See you soon, Grandma. Of course, darlings. When your parents learn respect. By 12:30, she and Olivia were en route to Serenity Cove. New beginnings, real bonds. For the first time in years, Victoria felt truly alive. Her family had underestimated her, but never again. This wasn't revenge. It was reclamation. And as the car sped along the coastal road, she smiled, ready for whatever came next. In the sun-drenched paradise of a luxurious beach resort in Cancun, Mexico, Eleanor Thompson had always been the glue that held her sprawling family together. At 68 years old, with silver-streaked hair and eyes that had seen decades of quiet sacrifices, she had poured her heart into savings into this dream vacation. It was meant to be a celebration. Her late husband's 70th birthday would have been this year, and she'd organized everything to honor his memory. Flights for 12 people, oceanfront suites at the Grand Fiesta Resort, excursions to ancient Mayan ruins, and endless gourmet meals, all on her dime. After selling a collection of antique jewelry she'd inherited from her mother just to make it happen, Eleanor's two sons, Victor and Lucas, along with their wives, Sophia and Isabella, and their 5 grandchildren ranging from 7-year-old twins to 19-year-old. Sophia had arrived with excitement, or so it seemed. Eleanor noticed the sidelong glances, the hushed conversations that stopped when she entered the room, but she brushed it off as jet lag or the heat. That was, until her eldest granddaughter, Sophia, pulled her aside one evening after a family dinner. Grandma, you need to see this, Sophia whispered, her dark eyes wide with unease. She was Victor's daughter, a sharp, compassionate college freshman who had always been Eleanor's confidant. They sat on the balcony overlooking the turquoise sea, and Sophia handed over her phone. It was a group chat named Family Fun minus Mom, excluding Eleanor entirely. The messages scrolled like a dagger through her heart. Victor, finally, a break from Mom's endless stories about Dad. This trip is ours now. Sophia, yeah, and once we're back, we dispute those charges. Say the hotel overbuilt. She's got the receipts. We'll play dumb. Isabella hired that babysitter app kids with her all day so we can actually relax without her hovering. Burden lifted. Lucas, last day of pretending. Can't wait to ditch the old lady act. There were laughing emojis memes, mocking Eleanor's outdated swimsuit from the pool photos. Complaints about her snoring through the thin hotel walls. It went on for pages, dating back months. Planning every detail of how to use her generosity while resenting her presence. Eleanor's hands trembled as she read. 45 years of motherhood flashed before her, raising the boys alone after their father's early death, working double shifts as a nurse, skipping her own vacations to fund their college tuitions, their weddings, their down payments on houses, and this was her thanks. She felt a rage bubble up, hot and unfamiliar, but she swallowed it down. That night, she barely slept, the sound of waves crashing like accusations. The next morning, Eleanor called the resort manager, Carlos, a kind-faced man in his 50s who'd greeted them warmly upon arrival. In his office, away from prying eyes, she showed him the screenshots Sophia had forwarded. "Senora Thompson, this is heartbreaking," Carlos said softly, his accent thick with sympathy. "What would you like to do? The suites are in your name, paid in full." "I want them out," Eleanor said, her voice steady for the first time. "Not the kids, but my sons and their wives." "Today," Carlos nodded, "no questions asked. We'll handle it discreetly. Security will escort them if needed. And for you, upgrade to our private villa, on the house. You deserve peace." By midday, as the family gathered in the main suite for lunch, the confrontation brewed. Eleanor entered with Sophia by her side, Carlos lingering in the hallway. The grandkids, Sophia's siblings, little Emma and Ethan, the 7-year-old twins, and Lucas's teens. Mia and Noah were playing video games in the adjoining room, oblivious at first. "We need to talk," Eleanor announced, her tone cutting through the chatter like a knife. Victor looked up from his phone, annoyance flickering. "Mom, can't it wait? We're about to head to the beach." "No, it can't." She held up her own phone, projecting the chat onto the TV screen via the room's smart system. Carlos had shown her how. The messages filled the wall, ugly and undeniable. Silence crashed down. Sophia's face drained of color. Isabella dropped her coffee mug, shattering it on the tile floor. "Mom, how did you?" Lucas stammered. "Sophia showed me. Your own daughter couldn't stomach the betrayal." Eleanor's voice rose, fueled by years of suppressed hurt. "You used me, mocked me, planned to steal from me even after I sold my mother's brooch, her Lockheed pieces from the 1940s to fund this farce." Victor stood red-faced. "It was just venting. You always smother us, Mom. Always expecting gratitude like we're kids." "Gratitude? For what? Tolerating me? Calling me a burden in your little secret club?" Eleanor's eyes blazed. She no longer hid the fury. It poured out like a storm. "You want your freedom? Fine. Pack your bags. You're leaving the resort. Now." Isabella laughed nervously. "You can't be serious. We're family. Family doesn't scheme behind backs. Family doesn't hire sitters to avoid the matriarch who paid for everything." Eleanor turned to Carlos, who'd entered quietly. "Please escort them to the lobby." The argument erupted then, a whirlwind of denials and accusations. Lucas blamed stress from work. Sophia claimed it was misunderstood jokes. The younger grandkids peeked in, confused tears forming. Emma tugged at Eleanor's skirt. "Grandma, why is everyone yelling?" But it was Sophia who stepped forward, her voice cutting through the chaos. At 19, she had a wisdom born of observing too much. "I showed her because it was wrong. You all complained about Grandma's hovering. But she's the one who taught me to swim, who paid for my art classes, who listened when you were too busy." Victor whirled on his daughter. "Stay out of this, Sophia." "No, Dad. Tell them the truth. Tell Emma and Ethan why you're really mad because Grandma wouldn't buy you that new boat last year." The room froze. Isabella gasped. "How do you know about that?" "I saw the emails. And the chat. You said Grandma was senile for not splashing more cash." Sophia's tears fell, but her stance was firm. "She sold her jewelry for this trip. Did you know that? The brooch from Great-Grandma's wedding?" Lucas slumped onto the couch, burying his face in his hands. We didn't think she'd find out. Didn't think, or didn't care." Eleanor challenged. She knelt to the twins' level. "Sweeties, this isn't about you. Go with Carlos to the kids' club for ice cream. Sophia will join soon." As the little ones were led away, the adults unraveled further. Sophia tried tears. "Mom, we're sorry. It spiraled out of control. Sorry now, or sorry you got caught." Eleanor shot back. "You disputed the charges already, didn't you?" Carlos checked the bank flagged as fraud. Victor paced. "We can fix it. Cancel the dispute. Apologize for real." Eleanor's laugh was bitter. Apologies mean nothing without change. You've taken me for granted since your father died. I raised you on scraps, Victor nights without heat, so you could have soccer cleats. Lucas, I skipped my retirement cruise for your wedding. And this is how you repay me. Monica, wait. No, Isabella whispered to Sophia, but Eleanor overheard. She caved. She always does. That ignited the final spark. No more, Eleanor declared. Sophia, pack your things. You're coming with me to the villa? The rest you're out. Taxis are waiting. You can't take her, Sophia shrieked. She's our daughter. She's choosing, Sophia said defiantly, grabbing her suitcase. Grandma treats me like a person, not a prop. You betrayed her and us kids by making us unwitting accomplices in your lies. The other teens, Mia and Noah, shifted uncomfortably. Mia, 16, spoke up softly. Is it true, Dad? About the money stuff. Lucas couldn't meet her eyes. It's complicated, honey. No, it's not. Noah, 18, interjected, surprising everyone. He'd been quiet, but now his voice cracked. I overheard you and Mom laughing about it. Grandma's always been their birthdays. Graduations. This sucks. The family fractured further. Hugs were attempted. Pleas hurled. Victor begged. Mom, please. If we leave like this, it'll destroy us. It already has. Eleanor replied, her hand on Sophia's shoulder. You destroyed the trust. Now face the consequences like adults should. Carlos returned with security, politely but firmly gathering luggage. The sons protested. Daughters-in-law fumed, but the grandkids' confused faces hurt most. Eleanor paused at the door, addressing them all. I love you grandchildren more than words. This pain is between the Someday, when you're ready, we'll talk. Build sandcastles again. But not like this. As she and Sophia walked to the elevator, the hallway echoed with sobs and shouts. In the lobby, Carlos handed over keys to a secluded beachfront villa private pool, chef service. No shared walls. Signora, your courage inspires, he said. Anything you need. It wasn't courage, Eleanor murmured. It was overdue self-respect. The taxi to the villa was short, but transformative. Palm trees blurred past, the ocean sparkling mockingly at first, then soothingly. Sophia leaned her head on Eleanor's shoulder. Do you regret it, Grandma? Eleanor pondered, watching waves crash. She thought of lonely nights, stitching clothes for school plays. Of birthdays where her gifts were expected, not appreciated. Of a life given to others, hollowed out. No, darling. I regret the years I let them diminish me. The brooch, the locket, they were things. But my dignity, that's priceless. At the villa, they unpacked under a thatched roof, the sound of gulls replacing arguments. That evening, they dined on fresh ceviche toes in the sand. Sophia sketched the sunset. Eleanor read a book she'd postponed for decades. Days blurred into healing. Mornings, yoga on the beach. Just them. Afternoons, snorkeling where colorful fish darted like forgotten joys. Evenings, stories shared. Eleanor's why. Snorkeling, where colorful fish darted like forgotten joys. Evenings, stories shared. Eleanor's youth in a small Midwest town. Sophia's dreams of studying marine biology, back at the resort. Word trickled via a text from Mia. The family had scrambled to a budget motel, disputes escalating into full-blown fights. Victor tried calling, leaving voicemails of apologies laced with blame. Eleanor listened once, then blocked. One night, stargazing, Sophia asked, will you forgive them? Maybe, Eleanor said. Forgiveness isn't forgetting, it's choosing peace. But reconciliation, that requires their effort. Therapy, perhaps. Real change. Sophia nodded. I'm proud of you. And, sorry I didn't tell sooner. You saved me, child, from more wasted years. As the trip ended, Eleanor extended the villa stay with her remaining funds. Sophia flew home inspired. Eleanor lingered, volunteering at a local orphanage. Rediscovering purpose. For the first time, she wasn't the giver, she was whole. Free from chains of expectation, she built her own sandcastles, metaphorically, with boundaries. Literally, with new friends on the beach. It was terrifying. This solitude turned, but oh, how it liberated. And in the end, it felt profoundly, unapologetically right.